Hey, it's Emma, and I'm back with another astrology video. And in this video, we're going to be talking all about your chart ruler. So what the chart ruler is, how to find the ruler of your chart, and what it means for you. So what it signifies, not only in yourself and your personality, but in your life experiences, and why it's so important that you familiarize yourself with the ruler of your chart. Now, there is some talk, some debate on what technically the chart ruler is and how to find it. And this really stems back from traditional techniques versus modern techniques. I'm sort of a hybrid. I use a combination of traditional techniques, modern techniques in the way that I practice astrology. So if you would prefer to refer to what I'm talking about as the ascendant ruler, feel free. I'm not super nitpicky about it. So just if you would like to think of it that way, that is fine. But regardless, this is a really important part of your chart, and it's important that you familiarize yourself with this part of your chart because it's going to be very significant for you in your life. But before I jump into this video, I want to give a quick reminder to subscribe if you're interested in astrology and want to learn more about astrology. Also, to remind you that we have a private Facebook group where we talk about astrology, and I post in there every week and I respond to pretty much all comments in there, and I'll just keep you up to date on things. And also a reminder that you can follow me on all of my social media accounts. I have TikTok, also Instagram. I post there daily with daily updates, forecasts, and you can see some behind the scenes sort of stuff on my story. And then I have Twitter, which I'm posting on more recently now. Yeah, I'm basically everywhere. I'm trying to keep up with all these social media accounts, so you can follow me. The links will be in the description box. And then also, as always, I have links to get a chart reading with me. I do birth chart readings, transit chart readings, relationship readings, and I also do tarot card readings. So if you're interested, links will be below. Okay, so let's start by finding out what your chart ruler is before we get into what it means for you. So what you want to do is you want to pull up your birth chart and you want to find your rising sign, also known as your ascendant sign. So I recommend you pull up your chart using the whole sign house system. This is what I use and what I recommend. I have a couple videos going over the difference between whole signs and Placidus and why I use whole signs. So I won't go into that in this video. You can check out those videos on my channel. But if you look up your chart in whole signs, you'll see that your houses are equally divided into 30-degree segments. So your rising sign in whole signs will be the sign of your entire first house. Now, it's important to look at your rising sign, look at your first house, the sign of your first house, because the first house represents you. The first house is the most you of your chart because the houses represent different areas of your life. So while a lot of the other houses really speak of other people in your life, other experiences, themes that are outside of yourself that, yes, influence you in your life, but aren't necessarily a direct reflection of you and your personality. Whereas your rising sign, your first house, is very much you. So this is why we are looking to this house, to this placement, to find your chart ruler. And then once you find what your rising sign is, you want to look to the planet that rules that sign. Now, for this, it is very important that you only look to the traditional rulers. So the traditional rulers being the 7 traditional planets. So we're not looking at or using the 3 outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, for rulership. I will put in a chart next to me somewhere where I will go over what planets rule each sign to make it easier for you to find the planet that rules your rising sign. Now, there's a big explanation on why only the traditional planets rule the signs. So I won't get into that in this video, but the 3 outer planets are very important and they are significant in many ways, but they don't have rulership over signs. They have an affinity for certain signs. So for example, Uranus does not rule Aquarius, but it does have an affinity for Aquarius. And then Neptune does not rule Pisces, but it has an affinity for Pisces. And Pluto does not rule Scorpio, but it has an affinity for Scorpio. So you want to refer to the 7 traditional planets when it comes to rulerships. So that is important here. And again, you can refer to the chart that I will put up somewhere here for you. So the planet that rules your rising sign is going to have extra significance for you in your life. And not just in your personality, even though that can definitely be seen, but it's also going to be extra significant in the themes that you encounter in your life. The different themes that are showing up for you, dominant themes, experiences, lessons that you're learning in this life. This is going to be really important when it comes to the significance, what that planet represents, the meaning of that planet. And then you want to take it a step further. You want to see where that planet is placed in your chart. So you want to look at the sign that it's in and the house that it's in. This is going to give you a better sense and feeling of how this could be showing up for you and what is going to show up as an important theme for you in your life. Now, it might not be directly a reflection of what your personality is. So for example, for me, I have a Gemini rising, and typically Geminis are very social, very chatty, and they sort of usually have a more extroverted way of expressing themselves because they are so chatty, social. This is the feel of Gemini and Mercury, the planet that rules Gemini. So for a long time when I first got into astrology, I never really related to my rising sign when it came to my personality. But there's a lot of reasons why that is within my chart, because I have a lot of other placements in the chart that show that I'm very introverted, I'm very quiet, I am very reserved. So this is why looking at a chart as a whole, reading it all together, stringing these pieces of the chart together and reading it as a whole instead of reading separate parts to understand yourself and your personality is important. However, the themes of Mercury have been really significant for me, and in a lot of ways, I completely relate to the planet Mercury. I have such a curious mind. I love research. I love understanding different information. When I get into learning about something, I need to know everything there is to know about it, to learn about it. So it's not necessarily saying that I am this overly social, chatty person, this very social butterfly type of person as a typical Gemini person who really identifies with the theme of Gemini would be like, but I relate to Mercury a lot. And this is something that I'm exploring more about, finding my voice more and expressing myself more, teaching more. Look at what I'm doing right now. I'm putting myself out there, and this is a very mercurial sort of thing that I'm doing here. So you can see how this plays out. So this is going to show up, this planet, the placement of the planet is going to show what you are learning more about, what you're growing into, what you encounter a lot in your life. So this is going to be important. Now, after this, after you figure out your rising sign, the planet that rules this sign, where that is placed, you also want to take note of any planets that are in your first house, because these planets are going to be influencing you, your first house, which is very much you. So these planets are going to hold an extra significance in your life as well. So after you figure out your chart ruler, you want to look to any planets in your first house, and this can give you a better idea of these themes more in depth for you. And that's it. So it's really not a difficult thing to determine in your chart and to figure out. But now your job is to string all of this information together. So you want to think about the themes of that planet that is ruling your rising sign. What does that planet represent? And reflect on how this maybe has shown up for you in your life. So maybe within you and your personality, but maybe just in your life experiences, or what you are learning more about, becoming more familiar with. And then take it the step further and look to see where that planet is placed in your chart, in the sign, in the house, to get that extra information to see which area of your life this could be playing out in. and just get a deeper idea of how this could be showing up for you. And then again, look at if you have any planets in the first house, because these planets will be very important for you as well and will be influencing you and your life experiences. So I'd love to hear what you find. So let me know in the comment section down below what your chart ruler is, how this has shown up for you, and any questions that you have. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more astrology videos like this one. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.